So there's an unwritten rule in corporate America. You got to stay in your lane and follow the path that's been laid out to you. We've been told it since we were kids. Well, my guest today, Ronnie Hollis, missed that memo. He just showed up in the staffing industry with a microbiology degree. And I cannot wait to hear how that happened, because this is a new one. And what he built, not one, not two, but 3 successful businesses. He's been on the Inc. 5000 list multiple times. He has offices in major cities, and he's like a serial entrepreneur now. So I can't wait to dig into this, Ronnie. Thank you so much for being here. I have loved watching your story. We've had this on the books for a while, and I've been anticipating because I feel like I can learn a lot from you today as a brand new founder and business owner and CEO, which you actually said there's a difference between the two, which I want to get into for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. I'll tell a little bit about my story, and then I'll get a little bit into the difference between the founder and CEO.
Yeah, let's go back to this microbiology degree. How the heck did that happen? And why would you ever get into staffing? Why would any of us? That's always the big question.
So when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to be a stockbroker in New York and wanted to get a finance degree. And somebody told me that those are worthless. Well, now I know that he just didn't use his.
Right.
So he's like, you need to be a dentist. My best friend's a dentist. And
Okay.
so my dad worked on the assembly line at General Motors. My mom drove a forklift in a warehouse. So I was getting a lot of guidance from outside areas. And so
Yeah.
like, hey, I like the idea of being called Dr. Hollis and make a lot of money. Let's go.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so I was going to be a dentist. And
There's not much more to that, you know?
so he's picking my classes and all this. And he said the microbiology degree would stand out. So my senior year, I just decided I don't really want to be a dentist. And I had a small college football scholarship in Tennessee that I was playing at.
Okay.
Got hurt, came back to Georgia, sat out of school for a year, worked, saved my money, and finished up at Georgia.
Okay.
So my long distance girlfriend and I decided, hey, we're young, but we're getting married. So I was married in college
Wow.
and came home from class one day and just like, I don't want to be a dentist. And she's like, well, then don't. And she encouraged me to, do something
Great.
different. So I did, and just put my resume in a sales folder and got called by a big national firm and went to work for them. And I was 24, and one of my clients approached me I chose staffing. I had actually an offer from Merck to sell pharmaceutical. And I know that's the big shiny job that's out
Yeah.
there. I just felt like there wasn't the upward mobility pharmaceutical that I felt like you
Okay.
could get staffing.
Yeah.
I was a pretty driven guy, and I wanted to move up fast. And
Right.
so I was going to do what it takes to move up. But so anyway, I chose the staffing route, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I never necessarily thought, oh, I got to own my own business. But then an opportunity presented itself with a client that said, hey, we're building a new telephone company. Come and come start this recruiting group for us, more of an internal deal. And after about 3 years, you can try to buy it from us. So I did that. I made that leap. My wife was pregnant with our first child at the time. She was not very happy, but supportive, very supportive, but not very happy.
Good. That's
So
enough. That's
it
enough.
is. It is. I mean, her first question was, will we have health insurance? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. So I started Prestige Staffing.
Wow.
So that's how I went from microbiology into staffing.
I mean, well, number one, something you said, I don't know if anybody else would have picked up on, but you said there was a lot of upward mobility in staffing over pharmaceutical. And for a 23-year-old kid, because to me now, 23 is a kid,
Feel you.
that's pretty sharp. I never really, when I got into staffing, I was looking just more for a challenge. I wasn't even thinking about that long term. So
Sure.
where were you coming up with that? Studying the industries?
So, I had a friend or a relative that was an uncle that he was a number one rep for a big company, pharmaceutical company or medical supplies. It wasn't drugs, but it was supplies.
Mhm.
And I saw how long it took him being number one in the country to ever get to move up.
Mm.
And it was eye opening to me. And I wanted to be somewhere that I felt like, hey, if I really put in the work, people aren't going to look at my age. If I deserve it, if I can handle it, let's go.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so I did. So I chose staffing over it. But I also tried to surround myself with people that were older, wiser, and
Hmm.
I sought people out for advice pretty heavy. I'll give you one example. So I was at I think it was my first national convention. I went to one of the seminars. We were small at the time, and I went to one of my seminars, or went to one of the seminars. It was the merger and acquisition one. And this was years ago at the Venetian in Vegas.
Okay.
And a legend in our industry named Mike Willis. Older gentleman got up, Mike spoke, and they introduced him as a legend, all this stuff. And when he was done, they took a break, and I noticed he snuck out.
Okay.
It was just supposed to be like a bathroom break, everybody come
Yeah.
back. He snuck out, so I followed him.
Mm.
And we get on the escalators and we're heading down, and I said, "Mr. Willis." And he is, yeah, I was like, introduced myself and said, "I feel like I'm you 30 years ago. I want to make sure I'm you
Oh,
30 years from now."
wow.
And we get to the bottom of the escalator and he goes, "All right, I like that. That was pretty good. Here you go. Here's my cell phone number. You call me." And so he did. We ended up, I flew out to Houston, met with him and his son, Art, and had dinner with them. And he and I stayed connected. We almost did a couple different deals together.
Wow.
Never actually did a deal, but I can bounce things off of him for a number of
Yeah.
years. But it's about seeking out people like that. And, people
Yeah.
say they'll do that because it's the right thing to say.
Hmm?
Most people won't do it. It's
You're
kind of
right.
like success. I say everybody wants to be successful. Not everybody's willing to be successful.
No,
And
absolutely.
there's a big difference. So,
Huge.
yeah,
Wow.
and it's eye opening, especially when we hire a lot of young grads.
Hmm.
And so I've seen a million of them come and go, and everybody comes in guns a blazing. And then it's like, okay, the rubber meets the road. You got to work now.
It's a grind. I
It
mean,
is.
I don't know how many people I interviewed where they just had this, I just want to help people. Nope, this is not for you.
You
You have to actually be more mean to most people, say no to more people than you are helping. I mean, the rewards are good, but yeah, it is.
it's rewarding, but it's also,
Yeah.
look, there has to be some financial motivation to it,
Yeah.
or you're not going to sit and do the grind. And, you know, f- for me, I always looked at money from success as a byproduct.
Mm,
I looked at the competition. I was an athletic guy, came from a sports background. It's about competition. And when you start off and your name's at the bottom of the list and the whole company sees that, that actually motivates me more today than a check
mm.
a month from now.
Mo- Money from success is a byproduct. I love that.
So it really is. And if you look at it that way, and the other thing that everybody wants to find the job. Oh, I want to find the job that I love. And you find
Yeah.
do something you never work a day anyway.
Yeah.
Guess what? I don't care what you do. Being an NFL quarterback would be the greatest thing in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was never in the cards for me. But I could only imagine that even the Tom Brady's and Peyton Manning's, there are times they hate aspects of their job.
Yeah.
Every year starting over with new rookies, whatever.
Right.
There are things they hate. So you got to
Hmm.
understand there are going to be things you don't like about your job. And Prestige started growing out of the gates. I mean, I say out of the gates. Actually, that's not true. The dot-com bust almost wiped us out.
Yeah.
The dot-com bust was really our first year,
Okay.
full year of me having it. And it was tough. It was very hard. We were very small, had no money, and we had to switch gears. We got into healthcare
Hmm.
by necessity,
Mm,
and once we got into healthcare, that kind of helped bring in some stabilization for
good.
us. But then it helped us just kind of get by. We're talking 2001, 2002, and then telecom and IT really started to merge. Back in the day, they weren't really merged. Then it
Hmm.
became one, and so then we started really growing IT, and from there the business took off. That's when we started winning a bunch of awards, did a couple of
Yeah.
articles, and your head gets a little bigger than it should. You think, man, this was easy.
Yeah. You forget.
And then all of a sudden, 009, 08, 09
Uh,
hits.
yeah.
But we'd already started putting other offices. So we had a couple of offices now. We'd grown. I think when that hit, we were hoping to do 20 million in revenue. And instead we ended up at like 12.
Oof.
It was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, basically everything just shut down.
Didn't happen.
Nobody, that
Yeah.
was the fourth quarter of 08. So '09 came and, this is the part everybody looks at. Owning a company is so great and it's cool and this and that, whatever. The highs are higher, but the lows are lower. And there's no pressure like financial pressure.
No.
And when you got to make a payroll, that's pressure. And I remember one time during the Great Recession, my father-in-law told me, I just was venting to him, and he said, "Are you sleeping?" I was like, "Absolutely not." And he's like, "Everything is darker at night. Just remember that
Mm,
everything is darker at night."
it is.
And what he meant is, you're sitting there trying to solve the world's problems at night. If you can try to put it out of your head, you're in worst case scenario in the middle of the night. And
Yeah.
so you gotta ignore that, which is
Mm-hmm.
not easy. My habit
No.
master, um,
Yeah.
by any. So
Same.
so then we went had our downturn, and I'll talk about this for a minute because
Mm-hmm.
you learn the most, you know, people say all the time, you learn the most through the hard times.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to manage when things are good, there's plenty of money to go around, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to figure out cash flow and manage cash flow, and things are bad and you're losing money. What do you do? How many if you have to lay off? Like, that's the worst thing in the
Yeah.
world. And how many and all this. And I used to say there's no can't go to the library and get a book on how to handle a staffing
Yep.
company during the Great Recession.
Nope.
So even though these are some of the worst years of our business, I think they're some of the best years to talk about,
Mm.
because like most staffing companies, you live and die off a line of credit with the banks
Yeah.
because you got to pay everybody and wait to get paid. So you have a line of credit. And then back then, the banks were trying to get rid of anybody and everybody they could because the money they took from government. That's a long story. Won't get into all that. Yeah, so our bank caused us some major issues.
Mm.
But the one point I messed up or left out is from the time we started to the Great Recession, I'd had two outside investors.
Okay.
And after the dot-com bust, I went to them a few years later. We were growing and doing well. Made them an offer to buy them out over a couple year period, and they
Mm.
agreed. And so very amicable. They were very happy. They're just happy I didn't go under during
Right.
the dot
Yeah.
bust. So they ended up getting a great return. Actually see those guys every now and then now. Very amicable situation. But it ate up a lot of our cash. So
Mm-hmm.
when the Great Recession hit, we were
Oh,
not flush with cash. And what you think is a cushion, you need to think at least 2x.
yeah.
And luckily, when I started, I couldn't afford an accountant. So I
Mm-hmm.
had a guy that would come in once a month to
Mm-hmm.
close the books. And so he taught me how to learn. So I basically play CFO
Okay.
as well. And I advise everybody to do that
Yeah.
because you have to understand your numbers.
You
You
do.
have to understand cash flow.
Yep.
If you don't, you can't say, let's hire 5 people. Let's add an office. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Right.
If, if you don't understand that cycle, then you're gonna mess up.
Yeah. That's the sales side, right? It's the grandeur, the strategy you want to invest in, but you crunch those numbers.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention to that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
when you're going, because typically it's a salesperson trying to go out and start a company or whatever. And
Yeah.
um, you got to know the business side. The hardest thing I ever did in business, besides make payroll after a Friday when the bank said we're calling your loan, making that next week's payroll was tough, but we did it. But then the hardest thing I'd say I've ever done was changing the culture. We
Okay.
had a great environment. Everybody loved working there, but then you go through a bunch of layoffs and downtimes,
Yeah.
and everybody needs a villain. So
Absolutely.
it's my fault. It's the CEO's fault. So trying to get that culture back after a year or two down of being, and those were really, really down times,
Yeah.
getting everybody fired up again and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
passionate about prestige or passionate about whatever company they work for. Being passionate about prestige was extremely difficult. That was one of the hardest things I
Mm.
did. And so we get through it, and then we start growing again. And once we started growing again, we really boomed and took off really
Yeah.
well. You'd have a couple places where you'd plateau and all. And
Right.
um, I remember we plateaued a little bit around, I don't know, high teens and in the 30s, and then the upper 30s, you're kind of figuring some stuff out, and then it starts to really scale.
Right.
So, um, and then about 10 years ago, a couple of our contractors came to us, and you were talking about getting into the software development.
Right.
So about 10 years ago, these guys came, and they're way smarter than I am about everything technical. Well, these are actual developers that know what they're doing. I don't know anything about developing.
Right. Same.
So these guys said they had a tool they had created and asked if I would invest and get the company going for 'em. So I did. The tool wasn't ready. It
Okay.
took a couple of years and way more money than I thought to get it going.
Mhm.
And we just kept getting deeper and deeper,
Ugh.
and the tool didn't work out the way we had hoped.
Right.
But from that, we then pivoted to let's do service work. We can use the tool to help with service. Let's just go land some projects.
Okay.
And, so then we did, and we started landing some projects. And so the company grew from there. And so it's called Monza, which is named after the fastest F1 racetrack in Italy. So everybody's like, where'd that come
Love
from?
it. Cool.
So anyway, Monza, it's Monza Cloud, but Monza does software development projects. And so
Got it.
that's been a nice addition,
Yeah.
especially today where everything is staff aug's still going to be there, but SOW, turnkey. When I use the phrase MSP in staffing, there's two ways MSP is used. And, the normal way everybody's talking about with MSP, VMS on
Mhm.
the staffing side, everybody's used to that. On the software development side, you can be a managed service provider where we come in, we've got agreements right now with 7 other companies that we create the whole life cycle of software development,
Right.
and we can come in and do most any project. We might bring help from over here, from
Yeah.
this team or this company or that company, and so that we can come in and we're the only people the client deal with. But that's how we do our software development.
Okay.
And so that company has pivoted to that. And then lastly, all right, so true story is last year at the beginning of the year, I partnered with a really good friend of mine. He's an ex special forces, a guy from the army.
Right.
And when he got out, we were talking about what he wanted to do, and everybody would come to him, and he didn't realize he was placing all of his former teammates and stuff. I know this guy, he needs somebody to do this. And I'm like, man, and he's like, I need a job. I'm like, well,
Should we
you're
charge
doing
him?
staff.
Yeah.
So we set it up where I partnered with him
Mhm.
and we created a company called Talinaq, Talent AQ for talent acquisition. And ultimately, I want it to be basically a sales division that goes out and lands mainly government type projects,
Mhm.
staffing or projects. And then we've got the muscle behind it with Prestige and Monza to
Yeah.
fulfill. So no
Okay.
reason to reinvent the wheel when we've got it right there.
Smart.
Oh, a spot I skipped was about 6 years before this.
Mhm.
I went to my team and was like, guys, I need a little bit of a break. It's just that
Wow.
fire that I know I need sitting at the top is just not there.
Yeah.
And so you guys handle all the day to day. I'll deal with some stuff and then I'll kind of disappear for a minute and then, deal with some other stuff, disappear for a little bit. But I pop in and out now when they need me. But I was
Wow.
really going to focus on the new company, Talent Act, and get it going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna sell again, and dusted off my shoes, figuratively, um, and
Yeah.
then realized I don't know anything about the government space. I can't sell in this. I will hold no credibility. And then, true story, I got diagnosed last year with prostate cancer.
Jeez.
And so, not knowing what my year would hold and my
Right.
future would hold, um, I basically said, look, we're putting this company on hold. So I
Yeah.
really didn't do anything with it last year.
Right.
Then spent about 6 months visiting different doctors, looking at different options, all this stuff.
Right.
And won't get too much into all the things I did, but been very fortunate that all of my numbers have actually come down
Oh,
and
good.
I'm not treating it at all. So
Wow. That's
that's,
amazing.
yeah, so
Congratulations.
I did a bunch of homeopathic type drugs, and
Okay.
I will say that I'm not saying anything cures cancer. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I will
Yeah.
say that personally,
Yeah.
numbers have improved and I don't have to treat it right now. So I just, actively survey it.
Thank
And
God.
so, anyway, we've started back Talent Act now, pushing it a lot more this year.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of my main focus is pushing that as well as
Yeah.
being a little more plugged in with Prestige
Mhm.
and just helping get, after coming off a down couple of years, which everybody in our industry has had,
Mhm.
I've been through it. So now I'm trying to help everybody get that passion back, the passion. I call it the
Yeah.
passion for prestige because, for the last 2 years, everybody's just been worried about, how I need to, make sure I can put food on the table and trying to get everybody back in this. Hey, if prestige does good, you do good. Everybody does good.
Yeah.
And trying to get that back is the main focus,
Yeah.
which is difficult. It doesn't
Huh.
happen overnight.
No.
And creating that culture that everybody, because that's when the job's fun. Like,
Absolutely.
I wanna have fun, like, when
Yeah.
I'm sitting around people, I like, "Hey, we're bigger now, so we can't have the same type of competitions and stuff outright
Yeah.
used to be, but you can still make it fun." And that's what I really try to do.
Yeah. So,
So,
yeah,
anyway.
how many employees do you have now?
So, right now, I think we are just internal, we actually are down, at our peak, we were at 110,
Oh,
and right now we're down to, like, 60.
okay. You mentioned rebuilding culture twice.
Mhm.
How did you do that? What do you think it was that did the trick? Because especially when you're talking anywhere from 60 to over 100 employees, the bigger you get, the more challenging. And there's always, you can't keep an eye on everybody.
So obviously in 20 it was that 2011 after the Great Recession, we were smaller.
Hmm.
The biggest thing is you've got to take the time to get to know your people. You've got to know what makes them tick. They have to, you can't just say it. They have to
Yeah.
believe that you care about them. It has
Yeah.
to be real. And when an employee realizes that, hey, Ronnie actually, he's pushing me, but it's because I can be better
Hmm.
and I can do better and I can make more money. I could get promoted. I could do these things. And if you can genuinely show them what's in it for them and genuinely want them for them,
Mm. Yeah.
because they see through you. I mean, everybody gets up and says, "Oh, we're a family and we're this and we're
Ugh.
that," and but everybody sees through that. If it's BS,
Yeah.
it's BS, and it's got to be real.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody sees through it. I think the best
Yeah.
leaders I've ever had, they don't believe in the political BS and the red tape and the like let's just talk it out. This is where we stand. This is where you stand, you know. So it's I've seen that. I've seen both sides I've experienced and I'll take the tough transparency over the nice fake any day.
Yeah, I would always want my leaders to be real. And I tell people when they start, look, if I'm you and my career depends on these people, I want to know those people.
Yeah.
I want to know what makes them tick. And so I'd spend time with them. I'd spend a lot of time when we were really growing. I haven't done this in a long time, but when we were really growing, every time we would have a new recruiting class start, if it was one person, five people, whatever, I always gave the first morning training.
That's great.
And it wasn't about, here's how to recruit. It was about, here's how we make money in the industry. Like, here's an intro to the industry, doing some numbers and stuff with them. And it was about the company and it was about our history
Mhm.
because I want employees to know we didn't just wake up and be a mid-size
Yeah.
national staffing company. We went through these challenges and you're going to go through challenges, but we did it
Yeah.
and know that this is our backstory. And I think it helps get buy-in. And again,
Yeah.
it's just being vulnerable and real.
Well,
And I think employees appreciate that.
it makes you more relatable. I mean, you're until they start, until they meet you, you're just this like you probably look like this gazillionaire on the website, you know, who can just sit back and relax and they do all the grunt work. But when you come in there and you show that you're human and you're probably not laid back, but relatable, down to
Well,
earth.
and they
Um,
know that we've been through hard times. We've had to fight to get where we are and not, especially when I was younger, the immediate thought was, well, you know, I got set up by my dad or something like that. And I'm
yeah,
like, but that's actually assembly line at General Motors. It's not exactly how that works.
right, right.
So anyway, so that's the kind of the history of the three companies. And, I'll talk about that point that I like. In the beginning, you can be a founder. And
Yeah.
and there's a difference, people say founder, CEO. Those are two very different jobs. A founder wears 10 different hats. He's recruiting, he's selling, he's doing accounting, he's running around, he's doing internal interviews. The founders, it's operations.
Yeah.
You're really focused on operations. As CEO, as a company gets bigger and you really become a CEO and not just if you're a three-man company with that title,
Mhm.
you're not as much on operations.
Yeah.
It's more about bigger picture. It's more about answering. I get 20 emails a week about, should I sell to this company, merge? Should I go get private equity funding? Should I try to buy a company? Should I do all these different things? And then it's about processes and,
Yeah.
is this tool good for the company? Is that it's looking at much bigger, greater things of planning, opening more offices, hiring more people.
Hmm.
Those are the more strategic thought process that I think most people struggle with.
Yeah, it's honestly two conflicting different personalities because one is task oriented, the other is vision and long term. And I'm struggling with that right now. And I had gone from I came from being a COO, so I was still operational, but I was more responsible for the company and the long term. So I got into a lot more strategy and planning and okay, well, what's next year going to look like? And now you don't see it coming. And I'm like setting up the emails and the tech, and it's crazy how much in the weeds you can get as a founder. So, what advice would you have for me to stay the course? Because you still have to worry about the strategy in the long term, but how do you stay out of the weeds enough
So
so you don't miss it?
when we started out, we said, so me and the top couple guys, which at the time there was only like 5 of us in the whole company, but what we would say is, look, basically during A time, no management stuff. Everything's about production during A time.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the only time I would get away from that is when I do payroll.
Mm,
I had to do the accounting and stuff for payroll and billing and all, but everything's about production during A time. Then everybody go home, kiss the wife, kiss the babies, and at about 9:30, we would get on a call.
mm-hmm.
And there we would talk about, hey, what'd you think of that interview we had today? Do you think we ought to hire this person? Do you think we could do this, that, whatever? Or, processes of, hey, we
Yeah.
may need a different form for this or that or whatever. So our rule was that could only happen at night.
Yeah, that's
And
smart.
as long as you are still carrying a book, I think for the most part,
Mm,
that's how your day needs to be structured.
yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, over time as we grew and then my production was first to not produce and do more the business stuff. And then as we grew, other people started coming over to that side. And so that it helped. But in the beginning, that's what you have to do. It's one of the
Yeah.
sacrifices you have to make.
And talk more about your management team. You have good buddies that have helped you grow this business from the beginning, right?
Right. Right. So nobody was from staffing.
Hmm.
Everybody came from there. I take that back. One person, he did come from, it was funny, he came from an all perm business.
Ooh,
And my
that's a
background
different
coming,
beast too. Yeah.
yeah, back then where I came from was all contract.
Hmm.
And so we're allowed to do perm. So it was good to kind of marry the two systems.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now those guys have all stayed. They still, like I said, one's been a friend since 6th grade and the other 2 are from
So
college,
cool.
and one's a roommate. So, yeah, and, like, the one that was my roommate, we both started dating our wives at the same time in college, and so our wives have known each other,
Wow.
kids have grown up together. His daughter was in my daughter's wedding last year, so it's been,
That's
um,
cool.
it's been cool. It's been
Yeah.
a lot of fun. The best thing about it is when things are good, you can count on people.
Right.
When things are bad and your back's against the wall and we got to jump back in. We got to fight. Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about them.
Mm,
That's the nice thing is, Prestige and the other company, like this is it. There is nothing else that we're trying to do.
yeah.
This is it. We have to make this work. And they are in 100% with that as well.
Yeah.
And look, don't get me wrong, we've had our bumps and bruises.
Hmm.
There's one in particular that he always likes to argue with me. And he sees this, he'll know who I'm talking about. But it was good because he would always challenge. We'd always do these management meetings every Monday.
Hmm.
We would have lunch together. Once we were bigger and we were in true management seats,
Yeah.
we would always meet and we'd do a Monday lunch, and that's when we would talk about different things and bounce ideas off each other. And it was always good because he would always, well, I don't know, let's think about it the other, and he would challenge.
Yeah.
But he was also good because I'm the guy at the end of the meeting, like, okay, well, then this is the answer we all agree on. All right, let's go do it right now.
Hmm. Yeah. That's awesome. So, where was your first office?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. So, and you're
Hmm.
in some pretty major cities. How did you decide where you were going to go next? Because that was always something I don't think we ever really figured out was how how do you figure out that marketing plan of where are we going?
So the first thing I did, and here's where my science background actually helped me.
Okay.
The only time I think it ever helped me, was what I did is I took certain metrics
Okay.
and I started with Atlanta as my baseline. What I would do is I would take the main jobs that we placed and like Java developer, and I would look at Java developer with how many job openings would I pull up if I
Mm.
pulled Career Builder or Monster back in the day or Dice, and I would pull up those job openings. Then I would compare it to population. I'd get a ratio, and I would take all our different skill sets in healthcare and in IT, and I would get these different ratios and I'd add them all up. And so a city would get a number.
Okay.
And so then I would pick
Wow.
different cities and see how their numbers compared. Dallas was identical to Atlanta
Okay.
in its number. So that's why, so that was Dallas was our first office.
Great. And how did it
So,
do initially?
well, because we started it about 2 years, we had some issues in the beginning. The
Mm.
team we sent out there, let's just say no dating in the office is a good thing. And
Boy.
so there ended up being some issues and some turnover there. So
Yeah.
the .com bust happened, and not the .com, the Great
Recession.
Recession. And so now Dallas, the girl that runs Dallas is fantastic.
Right.
She's doing a good job. Um, so we went Dallas and then go. Now part of it too is whoever we thought could lead an office.
Hmm.
We would approach them, talk to them about it, and tell them, hey, this is the next step for you.
Hmm.
Is there a city you'd be willing to move to? They tell us where they'd be willing to move. I'd do my calculations, figure it
Okay.
out, see if it was a good market. And that's really how we grew to where we were. The only one that's a little different is St. Louis. We have a great long-term employee that his wife's from St. Louis, so he wanted to move from Chicago to St. Louis. Um, so we agreed to open an office there.
Okay.
But the rest was some form of what I described.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great strategy, actually. I wish I had
I'm just glad
talked
to
to a
know I can
few.
bring microbiology into staffing.
Yeah. Who knew? Jeez. Comes full circle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys do any kind of temp contingency? Is it all perm?
No, no, no. We're the way I describe it is we're definitely not all perm. You make money with perms, you build a company with
You
spread
do.
or
Yeah.
contracts.
How are
And
you?
so,
Sorry, I'm just curious because I know you're in Chicago, and we really struggled with all the laws and on our temp side. How have you guys handled that over the last couple of years?
we've been there for a while, so I guess I'll give our CFO a lot of credit. He stays plugged in with that.
Good. Oh, that's good.
And so, I mean, we're constantly rolling out new rules or this or
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you there's some states we won't go into.
Yeah.
Illinois Illinois is tough, don't get me wrong, but it's not California.
Yeah.
I won't touch California.
Yeah.
It's the
Most
one.
won't. I met there's somebody I network with, and she was a CFO. Ended up acquiring a staffing company with a partner in California, one location in California. I mean, when she's telling me this, my mouth hit the floor. Like, if you're gonna start though,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
That
now everything else is gonna be so easy,
Well, just the
crazy.
amount of regulations and,
I know. I
the
mean,
tough environment,
there's
you
a
know.
rule for everything. There's a
Yeah, and
rule.
it's only gonna get
Yeah,
worse.
yeah,
Hopefully not. Hopefully something will change, but
yeah,
for now, it's only gonna get worse, and
yeah,
so we've avoided it. So, yeah, there are some states that, now I'll say this, times are changing to where it's not as big of a necessity to have an office in a city. But I am a firm believer that your sales folks need to be in that market to get the face time to really build a
yeah,
relationship.
absolutely.
You'll stay transactional,
Yeah,
which you don't do.
yeah.
Yes, I know there are some companies that will have all their recruiting in, one home base.
Hmm.
And I think there's an element of some of that you can do, but at the same time, I prefer to have recruiters sitting right beside salespeople. So when they
Yeah.
have a question about a rec, because we do split desks, not full desks.
Okay.
So when they have a question about a rec, They're right there.
When you're hiring, so you don't have anybody working remotely?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I don't prefer it.
You don't prefer
Uh,
it, right?
I don't prefer it. But because the learning curve is longer.
Yes.
And so I prefer it not be remote.
Okay.
And as far as like an entry level recruiter,
Mhm.
we did one remote and we will never do that again.
Okay. Yeah.
And truthfully, the one remote is my son graduated college.
Mhm.
He came to work for us.
Okay.
So he's the one remote.
Yeah.
And that learning curve's been a little slower. And
Mhm.
he's working hard, doing a good job, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
the learning curve is slower. And I've been able to see it firsthand. Now,
Yeah.
if we're looking to hire an experienced salesperson that wants to work remote, we'll have those conversations
Mhm.
and we may.
Okay.
I'll look at things, but it's not ideal
Right.
in a way. I personally like you can have a hybrid,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
you got to have days in the week where you're not going to develop anybody around you and you're never going to grow your team.
Yeah. Yeah, we did the hybrid too, and it's different now, and with building my software, it's so different. I don't need that team collaboration. Everybody will be, and I'm just me right now, but I think having at least a few days in the office to bounce off of each other or to hear how somebody closed a phone call or even just to commiserate on a candidate that gave you a hard time. There's so much to be said about that. And you're right about the learning curve. Because when you're just
Well,
sitting by
it makes
yourself,
I do this all the time. I'm like, celebrate the small things. And, yeah, everybody wants to celebrate and high five when you close a deal, and you should. But at the same time, hey, let's celebrate the fact that, hey, I just had a really hard call and worked through it. Oh, hey, look, that guy hung up on me 3 times in a row, and you laugh
yeah,
about it. You need somebody to vent to or whatever.
yeah,
That builds that camaraderie. That builds
yeah,
the culture.
it
If
does. Yeah.
everybody's working remote, you don't have culture. People will disagree with me. It's
Hmm.
because they want to work at home in their pajamas,
Of course.
but you don't build culture. You can't build a company with everybody being remote. If you can, congratulations. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Do you think it limits your talent pool at all when you're hiring internally?
So I think that it can,
Mm,
but I'm okay with that. And I know some people at my office might get mad at me for saying that,
yeah.
but I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because I'm not looking for just a quick hit. I'm looking to build something.
Hmm.
And yeah, sure, a remote experienced salesperson. That's why I said we'll entertain it. If you're a
Right.
remote salesperson, you're going to bring some business.
Yeah.
You can help fund a new office. Then yeah, okay. But I also think that a lot of people are beginning to realize they enjoy being in an office. Give them the flexibilities of 1 maybe 2 days a week of working from home.
Hmm.
But especially when new people start, they need to be in the office every day.
Yeah.
Once you kind of get your feet under you, okay, then you can work hybrid, one day, then 2 days, something to that effect.
That
And that's
makes
kind of
sense. Yeah.
so I want people who are committed, not just, hey, it's a job. I can just work it from home and not worry about it.
Yeah, right, right. Well, some are rebelling against it now, there's a lot that are going back and it's been an uproar with people.
There's a reason that employers want people back in the office.
Yeah.
It does make a difference, and it
Yeah.
it helps with training, helps with culture, helps with camaraderie, helps you have more fun.
Yeah.
Every You can't tell me that, oh well, let me run and go get some dry cleaning. Let me go do this. Let me go do that. And it's like I understand you need some time to go do all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but at the same time, hey, you know, you're in a call block right now. Let's go.
Right.
And you've got two other people around you
Right.
doing the same thing. That
In a production position where where it's competitive, where there's numbers to hit, where there's money to be made, absolutely. It
100%
drives
you're right.
that, yeah. And it's funny. I miss it. I miss the hybrid. I liked hybrid. I did. I
Yeah.
liked some days when it was pouring rain out or something to just okay, now I can
Yeah.
just hang out. But then I missed people. So
Sure.
it was nice to have the best of both worlds. So I think that's
And
fair
there are
if
some
you're
yeah, there's some that can thrive in it. I personally couldn't. I
yeah.
would get too distracted. When I was producing, I needed to be in an office. I needed to be surrounded by people.
Yeah.
And hey,
The
all
energy.
right, whoever has the most talk tos by lunch buys lunch. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like
I like that. Talk
that's
tos.
yeah.
I like
I
that
mean,
saying. That's a good one.
yeah, I don't know how many talk tos people get anymore. It didn't pound the phones
Well,
as hard as it used to be.
I know. It still happens. I think we just make the excuse that nobody answers the phone, right? It's easy.
Well, yeah, and they still will.
They will.
They'll answer the phone, they'll take your call,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it is a different sales model than it was 20 years
Mhm.
ago, but and the industry is very different. And I guess that's the big thing now is where's the industry going, and everybody's got
Yeah.
their opinions. I think our tools get way better.
Mhm.
AI,
Yeah.
the only thing hyped more than AI was Y2K.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of
Yes.
people in the industry don't even know what I'm
Know what
talking
that
about,
is.
Y2K. Every computer was supposed to die at
Right.
midnight,
I
December
remember.
31st, 1999,
Yep.
and it didn't happen.
Mhm.
Nothing went wrong.
Mhm.
Everything was fine. That was way overhyped, but we made a lot of money off of it because everybody was putting IT people to work for it, so
They
it helped.
sure were. Oh my gosh.
AI is supposed to be able to do everything under the sun, and look, it can do a lot of things, and in 5 years, who knows what it can do, or 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't claim to know that. I know today it can't there's a lot of things it can't replace,
Yep.
that we do.
Yep.
For us, there's a lot like, right now, it's about educating our clients that a lot of our clients are on hold on hiring and projects because 'cause they're kinda waiting, "Well, AI is just gonna be able to do it all." No, just the type of team. Your team may look different. You may have
Right.
more architects
Right.
putting in the
Maybe they'll
guardrails for AI.
yeah. Well, maybe they'll be a little bit more efficient, you
Yeah,
know?
but you're still gonna need them. You're still
It's
gonna need
that's a
but
silly
now
strategy to let's hold off. We'll see how long that
we
takes.
hear it every day. Well, I mean,
Uh-huh.
everything you look at and read says, well, AI is replacing every developer. In some ways, they are changing developers and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Entry level developer is the one that's getting hit the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
AI can help an entry level person go from being entry level to an architect much faster now.
Yeah.
And those, once you get that kind of skill set, those are the people really needed, as well as then the testers and all that kind of stuff. And then the coders to go back and fix what's wrong because there's
Right.
always stuff wrong.
Right.
I mean, look, it's the tools we have now are way better. I mean, AI's definitely helped in that regard. So I don't know. I think our jobs look different.
Yeah.
But the industry's not going anywhere.
Never. I mean, even, my business, I'm building a software, I have a human element to it. And so I'm not your typical like SaaS because I still have a team of people who are making those sales calls. Cause you're right. They're just not going to be AI can't uncover as much. It can have, I guess it can have a conversation with somebody, but there's no rapport building with an
No,
AI bot. And that breaks open doors.
I know they can have some conversations. They can do some
Yeah.
things, but making real decisions, catching real red flags, and
Yeah.
like you said, building a bond. Candidates alike and so hiring managers alike, they everybody wants to work with who they like. They want a
Yes.
rapport. They don't want to work with. I mean, how mad do you get when you're talking to a computer and you're
Annoying.
like, "Oh, I want to talk to a person,"
Yeah.
slamming the phone?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be the same thing. I,
Yeah.
I think people still long for this, and this is how business will get done.
Yeah. What is your biggest challenge right now in your companies?
Navigating the future of figuring out through all the noise what tools really are good.
Right.
Like, that's one of the major things. We've got a group of people who are just constantly testing out because there's a new
Mm.
tool every week.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure we're using the latest and greatest,
Yeah.
but trying to figure out the right tools, I think is the hardest part right now. Between that and getting the culture back,
Mm.
and I'll say it again, is whatever company name you have, like for us, it's prestige, like getting back to passion for prestige,
Mhm.
like getting passion back for where you work, not, man, I just need to scrape by and get a deal.
Yeah.
That's there was a time when in our industry over the last few years that was the focus. Now it's, let's get passionate about growing this thing again
Yeah.
and creating that culture. So I would say those two things is getting the culture right now and getting the the tools decided upon,
Yeah.
because you're in the industry. Like right now, if you walk around any national convention, there's 72 new tools.
Mhm.
Which one works? Which one doesn't? Which one should you use? Not use? Um, it's not like the old days where you just bought some career builder monster and
I
you were good to go.
know. I know. And every time you do a search for one, it's the 30th and you have to scroll through, 100 that
Right.
does the same thing. So
So go ahead.
you said you have a team of testers. Which company is that like, and does that flow to all of them?
So it would be because the recruiting is really only done at Prestige.
Hmm.
So the testers for the tools and all are people at Prestige.
Okay.
So like one salesperson may be really focusing on using this particular tool, trying it. We've got somebody who's more corporate, who's been really looking at a lot of the different things. She's done a fantastic job. And our president, Nate Donenville's kind of headed that up, really been on top of it. So
Smart.
we just came off a leadership conference last week. And so they were talking about all the new tools. And I'm like, what is that?
Okay.
And it can do what?
Yeah.
So because I haven't really dealt with the operation stuff in a while, and so it's they're doing a great job of digging in and testing out. But Prestige will do it on the development side. That's a little different,
Okay. Yeah.
obviously.
Right.
What tools they use for that, their developers, their team will they make that call.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's completely different.
Man, I could learn a lot from both sides from you guys. You should dissect mine and tell me what's wrong with it.
There's probably nothing wrong.
We'll see. Well, I want to know what's wrong so I can fix it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one that I need to be asking, like, what's next for you? I mean, you've got multiple irons in the fire right now, getting yourself out there as a leader in the industry.
I think when we're in these roles, we talked about strategy before and like seeing what you want your business to do. And I'm just envisioning and putting myself as the next big name in staffing software. Like I'm in that role right now. I'm not, nobody knows who I am. I'm brand new, I'm barely launched. But that's what I see. So I'm like dressing for the job I want. I'm learning everything I can about AI. I'm learning everything I can about developing and who my competitors are and what's going on in staffing and who I can tap into and who I can't. So,
Right.
and trying to soak up all the knowledge I can. This podcast is great because I'm talking business owners and so I ask everybody for advice on every
That's right.
single one. What would you tell me?
Yeah, it's the sleepless nights, but
Yeah.
those are the things that will drive you. It's
That's the other side is like, and you're right. When you find something that you find something that you love, it's not like that you don't work a day in your life, but it gets you up. It gets you
yeah.
moving. It gets you like, you work 16-hour days and you don't even notice it because you've just got that drive. There's a different level. So
What's
that's,
fun? You're creating something. Like I remember the first time I got a check made out to Prestige Staffing. Back then everybody would still mail checks and all, and so
yeah,
I remember you check the mail every day, and I remember getting a check, and I don't remember how much it was for, but here's a check made out to a
yeah.
company that I made up, a name I just made up, and somebody just sent us money. Like that's a weird feeling. That's a very weird feeling.
Oh, I can't wait for that feeling. Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's
great. So
it's
yeah,
cool.
I think of growth and you had said you learned the best in your down times. And I had some down times the last few years,
Sure.
but I wouldn't trade them. I learned so much. I learned a different culture. I learned a different side of business. I learned really who I want to be as a leader, as a business owner, CEO. So I think it's just now trying to figure out as I grow a team. What you did is stay with a healthy culture and make everybody part of it and part of your vision because and tie it to what they care about. I think that's probably my next my
The
next
next play.
the next play. Yeah.
I
Yes.
like to tell everybody, think about where do you want to be 10 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
It's There's a financial aspect to that. There's a leadership in your career aspect. Like there are some people that are like, no, I just want a small
Yeah.
team that I can run and I don't want any responsibility. Let me produce and put money in my pocket. Okay. But let's say you got these big lofty goals.
Hmm.
All right. Back it down to where do you need to be in 5 years? Then back it down to 1 year. Then back it down. What do you need to be doing today to get there? And I think people fail to
Great
look at
advice.
that 10-year window.
Yeah.
They're looking at this week or next week and not this is where I want to
Yeah.
be really 10 years.
Yeah. And I think that's where I struggle with the okay, I'm in the weeds. I have to do all my administrative tasks, but
Sure.
I've got these huge, huge goals in the long run. And is this the right task for me to be doing right now? And I became a master delegator. And it sounds like you have too, because you were able to just walk away. And that says a lot about your leadership, that you hired people that you trust and you don't have to do everything yourself. That's hard
So
for
I
founders.
I said my goal was to work myself out of a job,
Oh, I like that.
and I wanted to create a scenario where I had no day-to-day function.
Yeah.
So, for example, while I was CEO and CFO, both for a long time, I took extremely intelligent guy,
Mhm.
Georgia Tech grad that thought he wanted to do sales, and that wasn't necessarily his thing. And then he became our internal IT guy, which he learned from somebody else. He self-taught, very smart guy. Then I approached him about, how would you like to be CFO one day? And
Mm.
he was like, I'd love it, but I don't know anything about it. So I spent probably 2 years slowly working him into
Yeah.
all of the things that I did, and would bring him in on meetings with vendors, I in meetings with the accounting firm, all this stuff, because we have outside accounting firm as well. And he naturally just he learned it, picked it up, and he became a controller for us, VP, and now he's a CFO,
Wow.
and he's done a fantastic job. But that was always my goal, was to be delegating that stuff off my
Yeah.
plate. And I don't have a problem giving people rope,
Mhm.
and that's when I think people do better. When you
Oh
give them a
my
little more rope,
gosh, yeah.
that's when they really go. When you try to micromanage, that's not going to work, and it's
Never.
no fun for anybody. And I don't
No.
want to. That's not how I want to spend my time.
No. I want to
You
get to
know.
the point where I don't have to be in all of the details. Like, just give me the big stuff and let's talk about the big stuff. And that's where I want to be eventually. My role was always be training your replacement because
Yes.
you want to be able to move on. So similar. I think we would work
Yeah.
well together, Ronnie.
All right. Let's figure out how to
How are
make
we
that
going to do that?
happen.
Well, staffing and IT, we're and tech, right? And software,
That's
we're
right.
already
Software development. I
close
mean,
enough.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Let's get a fifth company going.
I ain't scared.
I I know. We'll have to continue this conversation later because
All right. All for it.
too ambitious for my own good, I think, sometimes.
Nah. We'll
So
get there.
I wanted to ask you too, Inc. 5000, all these awards that you guys have received. What do I mean, you have to really, not everybody gets those. Not everybody even gets nominated for them. So what do you think it was about your businesses that you have multiple awards in a variety of categories?
So I think for some reason, I don't know why, I was able to create something that people wanted to be a part of.
Hmm.
And I say it's easy to manage people. You pay them. It's hard to get people to want to work for you.
Yeah.
And I want people to want to work for me. I
Hmm.
care about that.
Hmm.
And I think that if you are focused on creating an environment where they want to be there, now, don't get me wrong, a lot of people then just want to be their friend and not push them.
Yeah. There's a fine
And
line.
there is a fine line, but the biggest thing that I've found is people get content.
Hmm.
And they start making a few bucks, they can go do whatever, and they can buy their first house, whatever. Once they start making a little bit of money, they get content. And you still have to push them to that next level,
Yeah.
because it's one thing to be able to do a few deals and make a couple of bucks.
Hmm.
It's another to be great.
Yeah.
And if you're a good manager, a good leader, you can't hire a team of A players, but
Hmm.
you can take a B and make them an A.
Hmm.
That's the people that are good at leadership.
Yeah.
And so I think I was fortunate to create an environment that people wanted to be in.
Yeah.
And not that we hadn't had a lot of turnover like everybody does in staffing, but at the same
Yeah.
time, when it's not a recession or any of that kind of stuff, or a 3-year downturn like we just went through, people want to be at Prestige.
So I Googled you earlier, and when you Google and it does the little AI summary, let me read you this, what it says. There we go. So it says your CEO of Prestige, kind of gives you the breakdown, and it says he's led the company as CEO, where he's highly regarded by employees, ranking in the top 5% of CEOs in Atlanta, according to Comparably. So that's the first bullet that comes up about you.
I like that one.
That was pretty impressive.
I had not seen that.
Yeah. The AI breakdown, the summary of you. So it has to
That's
be
cool.
right, right?
I'm kind of shocked that to hear that, but I'm not sure how they come up with their stats. But I used to have this saying that everybody that I come in contact with in business, some will like me,
Mhm.
some won't.
Mhm.
You're always going to rub some people wrong.
Yep.
Nobody will ever be able to say I screwed them over. Nobody. That's been a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that I don't negotiate as far as I can with vendors and stuff like that. And, you know, but at the same time, nobody can ever say I did them wrong.
Mhm.
And like if you have to fire an employee, firing an employee,
Mhm.
they should not be surprised.
I
And
agree.
if they're surprised at a firing, you didn't do your job. So
Absolutely agree.
that's, I
Yeah.
feel if I can maintain that,
Yeah.
people will respect me as a business leader. And that means a lot. I want to be respected. I mean, everybody does. I don't, it's not about just being this cutthroat guy to go make as much money as I can. And
Yeah.
it's about building something. And I made a decision a long time ago. It's not just about how big we can get.
Right.
For me, it's about where I want to get by a certain time period, but also I want everybody with me to enjoy the journey. And we're going to enjoy. We've had a great time. Don't get me wrong. During the down years, it's not great, but we've had some low lows, but we've had some great highs. I mean, we would throw massive parties and we still will.
That's great.
And we take reward trips with everybody. It's been a
Fun.
lot of fun, and I'm ready for the next chapter to see where we can get this after this downturn.
Yeah. What is the next chapter? Exactly.
Is I really want to focus on I want to get these three companies a lot bigger.
Hmm.
Like I
Mhm.
want them to be the overall mothership to be one of the biggest in the industry.
Wow.
We've
Great.
been we've been in that mid-size,
Yeah.
and I've got some big lofty goals with that,
Yeah.
and that's the number one focus is and there's a lot of different ways to get there, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
looking at, a lot of different things. Do we buy companies? Do we get some PE money and become a platform and grow, or just stick to the old-fashioned organic growth, which is I really like.
Yeah.
So we'll see what tomorrow holds.
I can't believe we've talked for an hour and a half.
Well, I do talk a lot.
I feel like, well, I won't deny that, but I do too. I I thank you so much for hanging
Very
with me.
welcome.
This is
Thank you for
great.
having me.
We have now we'll have a follow-up meeting since we're
Yeah,
both going to be the biggest names in our industries. We'll have to have our own strategy meetings now of how we're going to get there because it's happening.
I agree. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Well, Ronnie, thank you so much. I appreciate this and cannot wait to see how you blow up next in a good way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's
All
been great.
right. Thanks, Ronnie.
All right. Bye bye.